Over the next 10 years, Vermont is projected to need more than 1,300 new carpenters. The median wage for someone who knows what they're doing and has a high school diploma or its equivalent is almost $45,000 a year, or roughly $20 an hour, according to the state's Department of Labor. With a college degree, the list broadens further. Accountants and auditors, for example, can make in the mid-60s, and the state will need another 1,160 of them by 2027. The more you learn, the more you earn. Jobs such as dental hygienists and nurse practitioners can pull down salaries in the mid-90s, but you need a master's degree. Nearly 2,300 new registered nurses will be needed, with an associate's degree the ticket to entry, and those jobs pay more than $60,000 a year. Help Wanted signs are a familiar sight around Manchester and the North Shire, but some employers say good help is hard to find. The town of Manchester is hoping to help bridge the gap between job seekers and employment opportunities, said Pauline Moore, the town's economic development officer.
We're going to look to work with both the education institutions as well as the businesses so that we can do some internship programs. We can have kids visit businesses to understand what it's like out there in the workforce. And it's just a beginning, and we're just initially having these meetings, and then we're going to be contacting schools and businesses to see if we can get some participation in the program. We're also working with the SBA to do some courses here for expanding your business, starting a business, how to finance a business, how to get financing if you want to expand a business. So hopefully in the next month or so, we'll be out there announcing more of these initiatives. We can't find employees that want to continue to work. And I think part of the problem is we haven't trained people along the way. And I think hopefully this program will help train employees for many types of businesses. Being a community that is a resort community, most of our jobs here are in the restaurant, hotel industry. But there are other jobs here. We have plumbers who can't find help. We have electricians who can't find help. Kids don't see, being a plumber as a career. But they're good jobs. They're good paying jobs.
One of the measures Manchester is taking is holding an informational session about obtaining a certified public bookkeeping license. That will be held at the Manchester Town Office on Tuesday, May 16th, from 9:30 to 10:30 in the morning. Moore joined Wendy Morse of the Labor Department and Jeannie Jenkins of the Community College of Vermont in a discussion held recently at GNET about workforce development.
We're going to need a wide range of services. We're going to need everything from professionals with advanced degrees to very skilled people that are working in areas that we generally call the trades. And looking at, if one looks at shortages right now, they're everything from good electricians to individuals who can do middle and upper management. Mm-hmm. So we really want to take a holistic approach to this. And that's going to require us to look at both the workforce we have and the training opportunities as for kids coming out of high school into college, and for the incumbent workforce or the job changer. We have a lot of individuals who have been in the workforce. They're good employees, but they're going to need to retool their skill set. And there are many ways to do that. There are, I think, as Wendy said, there are trainings. There is advanced education. Vermont has been a place where you could get ahead and do very well based on your skill set. And that's been a really wonderful thing. That is not so true anymore. Credentials are starting to be much more important. And those don't have to be college credentials. They can be training credentials, national credentials, or they can be college degrees. But increasingly, that kind of recognition that you've achieved a certain level of skill or education becomes the passport into good jobs. So as we move forward, I think that is a message. The connection between workforce and education is something that we really need to be paying particular attention to.
Workforce development, Finding the right people to fill the right jobs and equipping them with the skills they need is a statewide question, and 3 legislative assistants to Senators Leahy and Sanders, as well as Congressman Peter Welch, talked about that during a recent forum in Bennington.
On the job creation front, some of the places that the Progressive Caucus has highlighted is increasing investments in affordable childcare, in public works, and in increases of the EITC for childless workers. These are all ways that the progressive members of Congress have seen opportunities to really invest in workforce so that economic development can continue to flourish throughout the country and throughout Vermont. From Bernie's perspective, really when we talk about economic development, it's really about economic opportunity. And so for him, a lot of this is really about how we can make our economies successful by making our people successful. So a lot of that comes down to affordable healthcare, affordable childcare, transportation, and housing. We really see these as the cornerstones of any community so that we can have a vibrant workforce and a vibrant economy.
The connection between educational access and jobs and careers was one of the questions the panel fielded during the forum's question and answer session.
The 2 things we always hear are, I need a job for my spouse, and how are the schools, right? So I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I think we all agree that the workforce issues kind of transcend the spectrum from child care to higher ed. One of the things that was added as part of the budget negotiation that concluded was additional money for Pell Grants for students to go to college, and a change to allow them to use those resources to use a Pell Grant year-round. One of the regulations had stipulated that you could only use it during a traditional academic semester, and so now in some of the other forms we've been talking about student loan burden being a barrier to economic growth. If we're able to get students through college quicker or academic programs quicker, and it's a year-round Pell Grant will help with that. So education and workforce are certainly a big part of the puzzle.
There are some distinctly Vermont aspects to this, said Sarah Lang, the Southern Vermont Economy Project Manager, which hosted the forum in Bennington.
Especially coming from my age bracket, something that I'm really starting to understand and see about Southern Vermont, and Vermont in general really, is, what they sort of call the brain drain. There are people that go to college here, or who grew up here and then leave. And I think some of those people either don't see opportunities here in Vermont to come back and work, even if they do want to, or they just don't feel like coming back, and those are other issues. But I think it's a lot about having the right kind of jobs, because you have to match with obviously the academic training or the academic education that some of these people have, and having jobs that sort of have the standard or sort of this minimum salary that people are willing to come to Vermont. Anyone I asked, when I was looking for jobs in Vermont, they were like, just so you will probably take a wage or a salary cut for coming to Vermont, but I wanted to come to Vermont and was willing to make that choice. And so I think that's really hard for people to, unless they have that love and that dedication for place, for Vermont, to make that choice when they could make something higher, maybe even just over the border. So I think that, as far as generationally speaking, is really difficult, as well as, and actually in our earlier session, which we had with the federal delegation staff, there was a gentleman talking about training. So, college isn't for everyone, but there are these programs out there that train in vocational jobs, auto mechanic, any type of like plumbing or carpentry, more tech-related jobs. And I think that's really important because college is so expensive, not everyone can afford to do it. Providing them with these opportunities, other than, okay, once you graduate high school, now go off to college. If you can't afford that, or if that's not what you're interested in, having these opportunities for vocational training.
For the GNet TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.